like to call the meeting to order. Welcome to the meeting of... Yeah. Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision 118 and Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, June 28, 2022. The Board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Joseph?
Thank you, Mr. Weber. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use. Ms. Burns?
Here.
Ms. Callie?
Here.
Ms. Francisco?
Here.
Mr. Giordano?
Here.
Ms. Lent?
Here.
Mr. Marqueta?
Here.
Mr. Slade?
Here.
Mr. Silikowski?
Here.
Mr. Weber?
Here.
Quorum exists. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The moment of silence. This is in memoriam of the board acknowledge the death of Diane Penny, business teacher at Old Bridge High School, and express its deepest sympathy to her family and friends. Thank you. Oh, Jill, do you want to read the...
Yes, sir. Okay, so this month's Code of Ethics highlight of the month, the board will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, he or she will provide accurate information and, in concert with fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its school. I'll move it.
Lent will second.
Is there any discussion of the minutes? Roll call, Joe.
Ms. Callie?
I am abstaining from the two May 17th meetings because I was not in attendance, but otherwise, yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
I would like to abstain also from May 5th and yes for May 17th.
Mr. Weber?
Yeah.
The minutes are approved.
Tony?
Thank you, Mr. Weber. We ended May with the classic Old Bridge High School lip dub, which hasn't been done since 2018. The next morning, the senior class woke up bright and early to catch a flight to Orlando, where we spent a few days in Disney. We were then able to come home and watch our volleyball team win their 4th state championship. Next, we had Rent an Athlete, and then on to the Sandberg Hall of Fame. We got the senior class together one more time before graduation for a senior movie night. And then, of course, graduation. I would like to thank Mr. Cittadino, Dr. Hoker, Mr. Mara, and the entire Board of Education for giving me the honor to serve with them as the student representative this year. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Tony.
Mr. Weber, can we comment on that report? Not really commenting on the report. I just wanted to congratulate Anthony. I've known Anthony since before he was born, and you have grown to be an amazing, amazing young man, and thank you for your service to the board, and I wish you all the best at Villanova.
And he also is going to a great school, Villanova. Dr. Hooker, is there any recognition?
Yes, thank you. We have Mr. Dan Domino that is going to speak on Old Bridge athletics.
Good evening, everyone. Please don't mind my haircut. My 6-year-old son has been asking me to get a lightning bolt shaved in the side of my head for about 2 years now, so I thought for the summer I would get a nice, cool summer cut like he has. Just briefly going over Old Bridge athletics for the 21-22 school year, middle school and high school. For the fall season, our boys soccer were Red Division champions. Our cheerleaders won the GMC Game Day champions. Our football were Red Division champions, and Amanda Sherman was the state champion in the balance beam. For fall middle school sports, we had Sandburg Field Hockey, which finished undefeated, 13-0. Our Sauk girls volleyball team won the middle school Halloween tournament. Our Sandburg girls cross country took 3rd place at the championship race, and our boys cross country took 4th place at the GMC championship race. In the wintertime, our cheerleaders also took 1st place at Hunterdon Central competition, earning a bid to nationals. Our wrestling champion, Gabby Miller, was a 3-time state champion in her career here. Boys indoor track won the 4x400 in Group 4 state relays. And the girls swimming, another incredible season, won the GMC championships. They broke 3 conference records and 8 school records. Our middle school winter, Sandburg boys basketball finished 10-1. Sandburg girls basketball finished 10-4. And our Sauk and Sandburg wrestling had many athletes qualify for the division, conference, and tri-county championships. For our spring, our girls and boys spring track won the 4x800 at state sectional meet. Our girls lacrosse team were Red Division champions. And for boys volleyball, just like Anthony said, 4 times Central Jersey state champions and 4 times in a row state champions. For our spring middle school sports, we had Sandburg girls track, which are GMC champions. Our girls spring track came in 2nd in that championship races as well. Sandburg girls lacrosse went undefeated with a 7-0 record, and Sandburg boys volleyball won the middle school GMC tournament. After each season, our conference gets together with our coaches, and they pick an all-division team and an all-conference team for our athletes. Combined total for all the seasons, we had 86 all-division winners, 53 all-conference winners. We have a tremendous coaching staff here in this district. We were lucky enough to have a couple that won Coach of the Year. We have one that won the Division Coach of the Year, Coach McGrath for boys soccer. We had a Conference Coach of the Year, John Post in wrestling. We had our Home News Tribune Coach of the Year, Angela D'Amico from softball, and NJ.com Coach of the Year, Steve Gajewski for girls lacrosse. And finally, obviously, it's always a proud moment when you have your athletes moving on to the next level and competing. We have 31 student athletes that are competing at the next level. We had 28 individual signing days. I threw a couple of these out on the PowerPoint. We have some athletes going to Marist, Temple, Rowan, Montclair, St. Thomas Aquinas, Lock Haven. So just an incredible school year this year, and just looking forward to next year and improving even more. Thank you.
Thank you. For people who may not be aware of it, when Old Bridge High School was finally created and we had our first graduating class, we recognized when we had 2 high schools up to that point that there were going to be not as many positions for kids to play sports. So we added a number of sports. We added track and field, cross-country teams down at the middle schools, which got more kids out working for that, and that's a very helpful sport, the discipline, and just not besides the athletic ability. We also added ice hockey, and I see now we have a middle school ice hockey team. Field hockey, right? So, and Those are all added to give more students more opportunities since we're only going to have the single high school. And I think it's worked well. Okay. Dr. Hooker, is there any report for the superintendent?
That will be all.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Frank, can I just chime in here real quick? So regarding that presentation that Mr. Domino just gave, we've had some discussion through email, and I think, what was it, 25 scholarships, athletic scholarships? Yeah, I mean, so it doesn't matter what the athletic scholarship is for. That involves also the coach giving, putting stuff out there for the the athlete to be seen on another level. So that goes to show you the time and work that these coaches are putting into the students. So I just want to say congratulations to them, and great job by the coaching staff to get these kids noticed.
Are there any other comments? All right. Progress toward goals were listed earlier, and since there's no report, we'll go on to correspondence. Joe, is there any correspondence?
No correspondence.
Okay. Are there any special committee reports?
I do have a DEIB report.
Certainly.
We hosted our first DEIB committee meeting, and we had a really nice turnout. I think we're at a little bit of a disadvantage because we formed at the end of the school year, so we're limited in what we could accomplish, but we got a lot of good feedback from the parents that were there, and we have a lot of good ideas moving forward, where I think come the new school year, we could really hit the ground running and make a difference.
I look forward to it. Thank you. Are there any other reports? We will open up hearing of the residents on agenda items only. Seeing no hands, I will close the public portion. And policy. Present for the first reading of following policies, bylaws, regulations as discussed during the Policy and Health Safety Committee meeting of May 18th. I'll ask for motion.
No motion, it's only first reading.
Okay, first reading, correct. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 16, curriculum professional development. Items 1 through 5. I'll ask for a motion.
Lent will move it.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
No for 3, yes for the rest.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
All right, on to item number 17, finance, items 1 to 23. I'll entertain a motion.
Callie will move.
I'll second. Discussion? I'm gonna find my item here. Hearing no discussion, roll call.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski.
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Abstain.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 23 pass.
Move on to item number 18, athletics. Item 1. I'll move it. Is there a second?
Giordano, second.
Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Item number 19, non-certificated personnel office, items 1 through 5. Is there a motion to move it?
Burns will move.
A second?
Callie will second.
Okay.
Separating number 1 for discussion.
All right. Discussion on number 1?
Okay, this month we have 5 retirements. The first one is non-certified personnel office, which is Margie O'Connell with 25 years of service. The second one is certified personnel, Astra Bauer, Carl Sandburg Middle School German teacher, 9 years. The third one is transportation, Kathleen Murphy, 20 years. And then these two were hidden. Thank you, Mr. Farley, for reminding me. Carol Dolan with 28 years. She's a New Hour supervisor, and so is Luann Osborne with 34 years, with a total of 116 years. Congratulations, ladies. Thank you for your service.
All right, hearing no discussion, I'll move it. Is there a second? Roll call.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
Item 20, non-certificated personnel operational, items 1 through 5. I'll accept a motion to move it.
Lent will move it.
Callie will second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
Item 21, non-certificated personnel other, 1 through 14.
I would like to separate 10
Separate 10 for voting or just discussion?
for vote, and I can't vote on it.
Okay, great. Any other discussion? Hearing none? Roll call?
Okay, so on motions 1 through 9 and 11 through 14, Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
1 through 9 and 11 through 14 pass. On item number 10, Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Abstain.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolution number 10 passes.
Certificated personnel, items 22, 1 through 30. I'll move it. Is there a second?
Callie will second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Weber, just noting on number 14, Ms. Lent and Ms. Callie have a conflict, and on number 16, the same, and on number 17, just Ms. Callie. So everyone can vote as you see fit, and Joe, can you mark just those as abstentions?
All right, roll call, Joe?
Just one administrative correction on page 17, item 12. It says, move the board approve Rosemary Morrow to work up to 20, and then it has in parentheses 25 hours. That should be 25 spelled out also. Should be 25 hours both places.
Okay.
And those board members, when I take the vote, just abstain from the resolutions that you're required to abstain from, please.
Mr. Weber, I'd like to separate number 13 for voting purposes and discussion.
So noted. Okay, Joe?
Okay, so 1 through 12 and 14 through 30. Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
No for 11, yes for the rest.
Actually, we're not, I'm sorry. Ms. Lent?
Yes for all except for 14 and 16, in which I'm abstaining.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes, except for 14, 16, and 17, I'm abstaining.
Thank you. Mr. Weber?
All right, now we're going to vote on item 13 separately?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm yes on everything else.
Okay, so 1 through 12 and 14 through 30 pass. On item 13, Ms. Francisco?
Abstain.
Yes, discussion,
Oh, sorry.
explanation from the attorney.
Explanation of this action item. This action item is not really an action item. It is an acknowledgement, not an approval. So just so that board members are clear, this is, as it says, by operation of statute. So your superintendent contract expires on Thursday, and as of August 31st, 2021, you had to notify Mr. Cittadino if his contract was being non-renewed, and thus his employment as superintendent would cease as of June 30th. The non-conflicted members of the then Board of Education did not reach that conclusion to non-renew him, and he was in fact notified. It was not a voting action, it was the absence of action to non-renew. So you then had the choice of agreeing to a new contract of no less than 3 and no more than 5 years, which would start on July 1st of this year, or falling into an automatic rollover provision of the statute. Title 18A 17-20.1 says that if neither of those events took place, then the contract is renewed for the same term as its original term, which means 5 years. However, all terms and conditions remain as they are today, meaning that there are no salary changes or increases at any point during the automatic rollover period. The reason that I mentioned that it is not a real vote is that this has been taken out of your hands by statute, so the contract will roll over on Friday morning regardless of the results of this vote. It is on your agenda because it is appropriate for board members and members of the public alike to recognize what is happening. It is pretty unusual, but it is very clear as far as the controlling law goes. So that's the explanation of where we stand, Mr. Webb.
And would you find again, is everybody eligible to vote on this?
No, the same conflicts apply. Ms. Lent has a family member who is a noon hour supervisor. Ms. Callie has a family member who is a teaching staff member. And as such, neither of them can vote other than to abstain on action item 14. On this action item.
I thought I abstained, but I thought we voted on 14, and Mr. Solikowski was separating 13. He said 13. Matt, did you mean 13 or 14?
No, I separated 13 for discussion, for voting purposes.
Right, that's what I thought.
Not 14.
Okay.
I think we have
I think we have a...
We have two different versions floating around. This is on the
Correct.
superintendent contract acknowledgement.
And which is number 1?
No, you're right. It's 13 on the most recent version of this.
Yes, it is 13.
So this is on
Okay,
the
never mind,
acknowledgement
never
of the
mind.
rollover of the superintendent contract. If anyone
I'm
thought
going by
we
the
were
one
arguing
that
about
was
the
yesterday.
technology support person, we are not.
Is there any discussion on item 13 by the eligible voters?
Yes. I'm going to be voting no, for the simple reason, as far as I'm concerned, too many things happened over the last 4 or 5 years that I'm very disappointed in. A lot of youngsters lost a lot of good time of education. And the second part is, in the elementary school, I have a lot of correspondence with the elementary parents saying that Not enough is being done in the 3 Rs, writing, reading, and arithmetic, after what we've been through in the last 3-4 years. As far as I'm concerned, the superintendent should have really honed in on that, concentrated on the elementary, and boosted that up. We're so far behind. I'm voting no on that. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I'm going to be voting no as well. Reason being for that is because even though I think Dave's done a good job, and you can see the support that he has from the students at the high school, I always think it's better to get a fresh set of eyes. So being that, Mr. Cittadino's been here for 10 years, I think I'm a big fan of term limits on all stages, so, thank you.
Any other comments? I will not be voting yes on this item. The pandemic was a very tough blow for anybody, any superintendent, but when we went back to going back to school partially, we only went 1 day a week for 4 hours, which I believe was the worst in the county, if not in most of the state. And that was a major disappointment for me, and I thought that we had the ability to do better. I also am not satisfied that the assessment of where the loss of learning is totally valid. And of course, that's just part of the whole problem. It's not necessarily Mr. Cittadino's problem, but I just don't think we were aggressive enough in trying to see exactly where we are. So that's what I'll be doing. Hearing no other discussion, roll call.
Ms. Francisco,
Abstain.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Abstain.
Mr. Marqueta,
No?
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
No.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Abstain.
and Mr. Weber. So, Mr. Parton, I'm not sure how this is a 3-3
It's a
vote?
3-3 vote.
Yes.
The acknowledgement will not be reflected on the minutes of the meeting, but the statutory rollover of the contract is in place.
Thank you.
Mr. Mara, I guess I was working from the agenda that was emailed to us yesterday. So when we first took the vote on everything but 14, I abstained. Anyway, the numbers are kind of messed up, so.
We will straighten it. We know which ones that you should
Got it.
not have voted on. We will straighten it out tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about this.
That's okay. It's my fault. I have the one from yesterday.
Item number 23, non-certificated personnel transportation, items 1 through 6. I'll move it. Is there a second?
Yeah,
Lent
Jude.
will second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Mr. Giordano,
Abstain for 3 and yes for the rest.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
Item number 25, supplies, equipment, and services. I'm sorry, I skipped transportation. Transportation, items 1 through 4.
Giordano motion.
Lent will second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski,
Yes.
Ms. Burns,
Yes.
Ms. Callie,
Yes.
Ms. Francisco,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 4 pass.
Item 25, supplies, equipment, and services, items 1 through 15. I'll move it. Is there a second?
Giordano, second.
Discussion.
I'm going to be separating 1, 6, and 7 for voting.
Roll call.
I'm sorry, so we're separating 1, 6, and 7 for voting purposes?
Yes.
Okay, so items 2 through 5 and 8 through 15. Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
So 2 through 5 and 8 through 15 pass. On items 1, 6, and 7, Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
No.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolutions 1, 6, and 7 pass.
Item number 26, miscellaneous, items 1 through 14.
Giordano, motion.
Weber, second. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
I'm sorry, who's the second on that? Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie? Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 14 pass.
Item 17, board secretary and board business.
Giordano, motion.
Weber, second. Discussion, not hearing none. Roll call.
Mr. Silikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Burns?
Yes.
Ms. Callie?
Yes.
Ms. Francisco?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Marqueta?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
All right, under old business, does anybody have anything under old business?
I do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh.
We will now open to the hearing of the residents on any school district issue. Yes. Would you come up to the podium, please?
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Sophia Luli. I'm 17 years old and a recent high school graduate. I'm also the proud co-vice president of a youth-led community service and advocacy group, Rays of Hope. I have attended Old Bridge Public Schools from first grade up until my freshman year of high school. During my years in Old Bridge, I have experienced a multitude of varying levels of racism and microaggressions from both faculty members and my peers. Such experiences, along with the overall lack of inclusion and diversity at your schools, caused me to leave after my freshman year to join a different, more accepting community. However, even though I'm no longer attending Old Bridge High School, I still live and remain active in the community. Whether attending my best friend's volleyball games or walking alongside people at the Black Lives Matter march. Since leaving, I have still heard the firsthand accounts of rampant racism Black students at your schools have been experiencing. I've heard the firsthand accounts of members from the African American Club expressing their frustration with the administration for declining their request for Juneteenth to be a day off from school. Perhaps if administrators listened to their Black students and respected such requests, then Old Bridge High School could work towards one day becoming an inclusive and accepting community for all marginalized people. I am urging you to honor the wishes of the Black students at Old Bridge High School and make Juneteenth a required day off on the calendar, not just for Old Bridge High School, but for the entire Old Bridge School District. Additionally, I urge you to educate both your faculty and students on the significance of the holiday. Juneteenth holds great historical importance as it marks the freedom of 250,000 enslaved Black people in America, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. June 19th will forever be a day of celebration, remembrance, and honor. Such a day should be reserved. And as of June 17th, 2021, it's recognized as a federal holiday. As you have schools closed for other federal holidays, such as Good Friday and President's Day, I am disheartened and disappointed that Juneteenth has not received the same recognition or honor. Thank you.
We have it, don't we? We have that holiday.
You open this year on Juneteenth.
Okay, all right, thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, everyone. Nancy Coughlin, representing the OBEA. So I wanted to come tonight to let you know I handle Pride and FAST grants for NJEA through OBEA. And in this case, Pride stands for Pride in Public Schools, and FAST stands for Families and Schools Together. We've had a very busy year partnering with the many PTAs and community groups from September through June. The OBEA has donated in the form of grants over $46,000 to our community and our schools. We are proud to have supported AJ Silvestri with his Make-A-Wish campaign by providing dinner with Santa. We provided breakfast and lunch for Civil War Day, supported SEPTA with their tent or treat, and of course the Wizards game. We partnered with lacrosse here in the high school for Lacrosse Out Cancer event, and that's just to name a few. So I wasn't sure how many of the board members knew that that is something that the OBEA works with our PTAs to kind of support them with funds that they normally would have trouble raising. Oops. So if anybody is planning any kind of activity that they think they would like to partner with the OBEA, there are some requirements. So if you are interested, please reach out to OBEA president@gmail.com, and then Andrew will get in touch with me, and then we'll see if it meets the criteria, and hopefully we can continue to give out money to our schools, our community, and certainly our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Been in contact with New Jersey School Board Association, and we will be getting, she's going to be making an appointment with Mr. Cittadino as soon as he's back to get going on that portion of it. And also, she's also been advised that some of our people have not turned their evaluations in yet, and she will be sending some technical help as needed. So you can reach out for it individually if you have not already. If you don't have her number, I'll give it to you. That's all I have for old business. Does anybody else have anything?
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
I thought, because we do have some new board members who are not familiar with the evaluation process.
She may, if she's working on her schedule, if she can personally come up, she will.
Right, but you said that she also reported that there were certain members who didn't finish their portion of the evaluation.
Yes.
But if you've never done it before and you're not familiar with the procedure, and we didn't set a timeline because we didn't have that meeting with her before the evaluation process started, like we have in all the previous years, how are they to finish their evaluation when they, for lack of a better word, don't really know what they're supposed to be doing?
What she said is either she will come, if she can do it as quickly as possible, or if not, she will get somebody else to deal with it from New Jersey School Boards for the new people.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that, so it's not a bad thing that they haven't finished.
No.
We don't even have a timeline, a deadline to finish. Okay. I do have one more other old business. Sorry, Lisa. I'm sorry that Mr. Domino has left already, and hopefully he's watching, but among the many accolades for our student athletes that he presented tonight, I think we would be remiss if we didn't congratulate Mr. Domino on his award this year as Athletic Director of the Year.
Agreed.
That's all I have for old.
Anyone else?
I
I'd
was
like-
just, I was just curious where are we with reconfiguring the chairs of the committees?
I will be calling people this week, and I'll have something for you by the end of the week.
Fantastic.
Or rather, the beginning of next week.
Okay.
So I can get everybody.
I would also like to congratulate Mr. Dan Domino on the award. It's a great accolade to have, and he's definitely worked for it, so thank you.
Is there anyone else?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to thank Ms. Diane Penny for being my personal finance teacher during freshman year. She was very good, and personal finance is the most important class you'll take in high school. And in fact, at the commencement ceremony, we heard our 2022 salutatorian is following her advice by staying home to go to college. You know, that's why he's the salutatorian. So in her honor, and one of my mottos is spend less than you make, so live within your means and do the right thing. And I send my sympathy to her friends and family. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, we'll-
Mr. Weber, just one thing. Over the last 2 days, the district has been notified that the free lunch program that's been in effect for the last 2 years has been extended through the summer. So the students who will be attending school, summer school, the extended school year, and the students that will be attending under the ESSA program will get free breakfast and free lunch and free snacks. And we also provided during the last year snacks for the rec program in town, so that we were able to save money for the township. They did not have to purchase the breakfast snacks and the lunch snacks, and we are also extending that option to them for the summer rec programs this year.
Great. All right, very good. Is there anyone have any new business?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, so several months ago, maybe about a year ago, I ran across an ad for a book that I found extremely interesting and appropriate for the times, and which actually also led me to suggest that we form a DEI committee. This book is called A New Alphabet for Humanity. I'm not going to bore you with the entire alphabet, but it kind of changes, you know, like instead of A for apple, A is for abundance, B is for bravery, D is for diversity, K is for kindness, G is for gratitude, and so on. I had purchased these books for a couple of family members, and through that I received an email several months later with this great deal to buy a bundle of 6. So I bought 6 with the intention of donating them to the district so they could use them, you know, wherever they saw fit. But I showed the book to Dr. Hoker, and she kind of ran with it, and I'm going to let her take over from here.
Thank you. We just thought it would be a great resource, and Ms. Callie, with the donation, we were going to provide those books to preschool, and then we were able to purchase additional books for the K through 2 classrooms and the school libraries at the elementary school. So I thank her for sharing that book. It's a great resource and something that we can utilize in our classes.
Thank you. Any other new business? Okay. We have no closed executive session?
No.
In that case, I will make a motion, or I will ask
Um,
from,
Can I just say
Can we have
one-
like closing comments?
yes,
No, Lisa, you can go first. I just
I'll
wanted
go
to make sure we were doing it.
okay.
I just want to thank the young lady that came up to speak. You're only 17? You are so articulate and so brave, and I truly appreciate you speaking up and coming and speaking tonight. I could tell within the few moments of you speaking that you're going to have a very, very bright future, and I can't thank you enough for speaking up. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
And certainly, you would be, I'm sure, honored to have her as a guest at your next committee meeting.
We would love to have you join us in September when we start up the DEIB committee again. I'm not sure what your plans are after graduation, but if you're free and you want to hang out with us, you're more than welcome. We would love to have you join our group.
Could you give the words for the acronym?
I would assume she knows what DEIB stands for.
Well, maybe the rest of us don't.
Diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, but I'm sure she knows.
All right. Good.
Okay, me again. Since it's the last meeting of the year, I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank the staff for the tremendous job that they did this year, and thank our administration for leading us so well and doing such a great job as well. And Nancy, that was a great report. I've, always been a fan of the OBEA, and you're right, a lot of people don't know the other work, you guys do behind the scenes, and I thank you and Andrew and all your members for everything you do to support the kids throughout the year. I just wanted to remind everybody that I don't know the exact date, maybe Mr. Mara does, and I apologize if I'm putting you on the spot, but the deadline for putting a petition in to run for Board of Ed is sometime in July.
You're putting me on the spot. It is sometime in July. Sometimes at the end of July.
Well, Mr. Marqueta just bailed you out. He said
I
it's
think
the
it's the
25th. From behind me, he whispered it's the 25th. I'm sorry. So the deadline for putting in a petition for running for the Board of Ed is July 25th. And as usual, every year there's 3 seats for 3-year terms. But this year there is also going to be a 1-year term to finish out Mrs. Caro's vacancy. And for anybody who's interested, with the best interest of the kids at heart, and, I encourage you to file a petition and run. And that's all I have, because I think I spoke enough. And everybody have a great, wonderful, and safe summer.
And just to add to that, the New Jersey School Board Association, which is the governing body for the Board of Education or the liaison from the state, you can just go on the computer and type in NJSBA, and you will see they have a list of items, and they put out a candidate's kit. Tells you what steps you need to take, what signatures you need to take, and you need to get, I believe, there's a petition that can accommodate 25 signatures, but you don't usually require that. It really differs from town to town, depending on how many residents and voters they have. But that'll also give you some insight of some of the things that you would be required to do. So if you know anyone, have them, the more candidates, the better.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, we do require 25 signatures? Not we personally. What? Right.
Require a larger amount that's really required.
The requirement to...
Okay, well, when you go on the website and you see the paperwork, it'll tell you how many signatures you need.
Ms. Kelly, it's 10. There's room for 25, but it's 10.
But it's
10 is
10,
the
okay.
requirement.
All right, thank you.
All right, and from a personal standpoint, we seem to be out of the worst part of the pandemic, and God hopes that this is, the end of it, so that we can return a united, healthy community for staff and students, and work hard at getting our children back to where they were when they lost all of that learning time.
Yeah, I just want to say good job to the young lady that spoke. I'm going to piggyback on everybody's points, basically. So good job to the young lady that spoke. It takes a lot of courage and guts to get up there and stand for what you believe in. So great job. I commend that. The teachers, again, you guys are the lifeblood of everything that goes on in these schools. So thank you for making it a great school year, or at least trying your best to make it a great school year. Thank you for putting together these parties and the proms and all the after-school stuff that goes on, the extracurricular activities. And lastly, I want to give my condolences, like Sal, to the family of Mrs. Penny. I didn't have her, I never experienced her, but I know people who did. And from what I understand, she was a very good teacher. And she was more than that, up to a lot of other people as well. So my condolences go out to her and her family. And if you look at the trend, not really a trend, usually when people pass away, that's when all the niceness comes out, right? Like if you look at when Mr. Mazzola passed away, was that right, Mr. Mazzola? So when he passed away, there was a lot of like sadness. People were, oh, he was a great guy, and he was this, and the voice of Old Bridge. And now with Miss Penny, you're seeing it again. You should try to give those flowers to people when they're alive. You know, talk to them when they're alive. Tell them how much they're appreciated while they're alive. It's nice to hear it from us, well, not for them because they're dead, but it's nice to, you know, tell people what a great guy somebody was. But to really tell it to their face and tell them, hey, I appreciate what you did, is a completely different story. So lesson this year, I guess, is to learn to give people the flowers while you're still alive. So thank you to everybody. I appreciate you. Have a great summer.
Mr. Weber, I just want to acknowledge our retirees, and specifically Margie O'Connor, who I've had the pleasure of working with for the last 8-9 years. Very closely. She has gone above and beyond in her position. Her retirement will be effective in September. I just wanted to acknowledge that and wish her well. And while we're wrapping up the school year, and certainly my accolades go out to the staff and the students for all that they accomplished this year, we are already planning and have set our new teacher orientation, which starts on August 29th and continues the 30th and 31st. And also have all of our professional development planned for the opening of school for the first 2 days back, and are looking forward to the good things that come in next year. Thank you.
Lent will move it.
Callie will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? We are closed at 8:23.